This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below. You know, the Browns have really put us on a wild ride early in the season. Week 1 is a great triumph, but it comes with the huge, in some people's mind, asterisks, because yes, you beat the Cincinnati Bengals. Yes, you destroyed them. Yes, defensively, you smothered them, but, and there are some valid buts here where, the Browns defense did look good, but also there was rain that was affecting both offenses in that game, and neither offense looked particularly good. And also, the Cincinnati Bengals seem to just not play well in Cleveland for whatever reason, whether that be matchups, whether that just be a mindset thing. It's just a weird thing that they don't play well. So it's kind of hard to gauge what the season's going to be, because we've had terrible seasons where the Browns have played Cincinnati at home and looked awesome, or even on the road. There's something about Cincinnati with this team that gives them extra confidence. So you don't know what to take from that. Week 2 comes by and you play Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh. And if Cincinnati plays weird in Pittsburgh and they can't take much of, not Pittsburgh, in Cleveland, and they can't take much of what happens in that game to heart because of how weird these games in Cleveland are, the same exact thing exists for the Cleveland Browns in Pittsburgh. We've known this for years. That game in Pittsburgh has been one at the end of the season. So luckily, this is at the beginning of the season. Well, luckily, not luckily, it's at the beginning of the season. But also, it's been a game that's been weird for this team. No matter how good or how bad the team, they find a way to do something weird in that game in Pittsburgh for the last 20 years. And that game happened, and it went about as bad as it can go. DeShaun looked awful. The offensive line looked awful. Nick Chubb got hurt, and that injury looked awful. The defense looked really good, but it's Kenny Pickett. They're not a good offense. And you left that game not feeling great. And that's putting it lightly. You left that game feeling less than great. You left that game feeling terrible, feeling awful. Feeling depressed, sad, whatever it is. Your favorite player got knocked out the game, might be knocked out for the rest of his career. Your team, your $230 million quarterback's the butt of every joke for the whole week. Your franchise is the butt of every joke for that week. Everybody's assuming, LOL Browns, same old Browns, this and that. They just stink. What idiots. They traded all that for DeShaun Watson. He stinks, and this team stinks, and everything else. And it's just the same old feeling. And you're trying to fight it, but it's a strong feeling. A lot happened in that game. You're fighting your own disappointment with the team while also hearing everybody else's opinion about what your team did because you played that game on national TV. And then Sunday comes around, and it couldn't be any different than what you saw on Monday. Yes, the defense, the only thing that's been constant over these 3 weeks has been the defense, and we'll talk about that. But the offense looked great. DeShaun Watson specifically looked excellent. Touch on his passes, throwing outside of the numbers, anticipation. He looked like the quarterback, or at least more like the quarterback, that the Cleveland Browns bet 3 first-round picks and $230 million on. That's the guy that you don't care if you get, because that's the guy that's going to bring you to the promised land if he plays like that and even improves on that. He looked really good. The defense somehow found a way to be even better. 2 games this year where the Cleveland Browns have played complimentary football. 2 games this year where the Cleveland Browns have legitimately blown out their opponents. 2 games this year where we have seen the opposing team's backup quarterback because they gave up. This has not happened very often, let alone 2 times in 3 weeks. This team feels a little different. Now, we're hesitant to say that because every time we feel like this team's different, they do something to remind us that they're not that different. But it feels different. This defense is different. Look, it's up in the air with DeShaun Watson. It's up in the air whether he's going to be great, whether he's going to be okay, whether he's going to be bad. I told you last week that your feelings and fears about DeShaun Watson aren't because you know he's going to be bad. It's because you know that him being bad is a real option on the table, right? For most of us before Monday night, the option of him being who he was those last 6 games for the rest of this year, that wasn't something that we thought was on the table anymore. Monday night said, hey, that's on the table. That scared the hell out of us. What we ignored was that the other option's still there. He could still get better, still get the 2020 form. That option's still there. But now we're just aware that the other option that's always been there is real. And those 2 options are still there for DeShaun. We don't know which one's going to be him, right? Where he's going to fall in that spectrum. But this defense does not need a spectrum. It cannot be contained on a chart. This is the best defense in the NFL. And for many of us, the best Cleveland Browns defense we have seen in our lives in 3 weeks of NFL football. There is no weakness on this defense. You want to attack us deep? We have Juan Thornhill. We have Rodney McLeod protecting the deep ball, sometimes Grant Delpit. Really, really good options. You want to attack the secondary? That's a bad choice. We got Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, Martin Emerson. Grant Delpit might be in coverage. JOK is a really good coverage linebacker. So is Taki, and so is Anthony Walker. I don't think you want to do that. You want to run the ball? Might not want to do that. Not only do we have Myles Garrett, not only do we have good defensive tackles, but we also have, again, Anthony Walker, who's great in run defense, Grant Delpit, who's excellent in run defense, Greg Newsome, who's excellent in run defense, JOK, who's excellent in run defense, and Sione Taki, who's excellent in run defense. I don't think running the ball is what you want to do. Go ask Derrick Henry, who just got 20 yards in 11 carries. Or Tajay Spears, who I believe had like -2. Not what you want to do. Okay. We'll throw it. You sure? I really don't think you want to do that. Because if you want to throw the ball, you're going to have to deal with Myles Garrett. Now, I understand. You might think your left tackle's good. Hell, you might have a great left tackle. Myles Garrett's out this world. Teams are scrambling for a way to defend him. And not just Myles you have to worry about. Two great edge rushers in Zadarius Smith and Myles. You got Obo Okoronkwo, who can help out around the corner. And then you also have Dalvin Tomlinson. You also have Shelby Harris and Maurice Hurst to worry about. And that's what this team does best, is get pressure and cover. So let's look at it this way. If you want to beat the Cleveland Browns defense, where do you attack them? You have to hope, your best hope, since the Browns play a lot of man, is that you can contain Myles Garrett and Zadarius Smith and Dalvin Tomlinson and Shelby Harris and Maurice Hurst and Obo Okoronkwo. You can contain them, hold the ball long enough to throw through the gaps in their man coverage. And if you're able to do that, you have success. But in able to do that, you're going to have to hold the ball for more than 2.5 seconds. Myles Garrett gets to quarterbacks in 2.25 seconds. So you got to block Myles Garrett. Okay. So, all right, we're going to triple team Myles Garrett. We're going to leave a tight end in. We're going to have a running back block him, and we're going to have our tackle there. We're going to triple team him. We're going to make sure Myles can't get there. Okay. Well, what about Zadarius? Okay. We'll keep another guy in. Okay. We'll run 12. Well, that's what we'll run 12. We'll have 2 tight ends, 1 on each side, a chip each side, and we'll do that. Okay, so now you're holding the ball, and you're trying to throw the ball downfield, and you're chipping, and you're just really taking care of 5 guys on the line of scrimmage, and you're trying to throw the ball with maybe 2 or 3 wide receivers that are actually running routes against Denzel Ward, Martin Emerson, and Greg Newsome, with a bunch of other players back there because the Browns can stop the run with 5 in the box. So you can't really win there. Maybe you run the ball. We just saw what happened to Derrick Henry. If this Browns defense can stay healthy, if this Browns defense can continue to play at the level that they have through 3 weeks, this is not just a good defense. This is the kind of defense that can carry a team. And given how well the quarterback played on Sunday, that might not be something they have to do for the whole season. It's going to take time for DeShaun to get to full strength. I don't think he's going to get there. And I don't think next week we're going to be like, oh, he's back and he's going to go on a streak of 300-yard games. We'll love it, but I don't think that's going to be the case. He's going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. Then he might stabilize towards the end of the year. But this defense is going to be really, really good. You're going to be allowed to have some up and downs on offense. I don't think we have come to grips with how good this defense is. I don't think we've come to grips with how rare of a 3-game stretch this has been for a defense. They've given up 1 touchdown on a busted coverage play. They've had 2 drives legitimately get to the red zone. Maybe. I think 1 drive, actually. And that drive ended in field goals. A long one, too, if I remember correctly. No. That drive didn't end in a field goal. I'm sorry. That drive got to the red zone. Myles Garrett got a sack, and in time elapsed, not allowing the Titans to get to a field goal. This defense is incredible. It's insane, and they're playing at not just a high level. They're not just the best defense in the NFL. This is some special stuff that we're seeing, and it's incredible that we're seeing it given how awful this defense was last year. The reason I was so hesitant to go all the way with this defense wasn't because I didn't believe in Jim Schwartz or didn't believe in the talent on this Browns defense. It was simply because how could you go that much? Like, how can one guy make that much of a difference? And it does. I don't know if this is a Jim Schwartz is a genius thing or if this is a Joe Woods was that bad thing. But something was going on. And it's clear that it's different. This is a run defense that let James Cook and Devin Singletary get 160 yards that held Derrick Henry to 1.8 yards per carry. This is a defense that had one of the worst run defense performances in NFL history versus the Miami Dolphins. This is like a lot of these players were there for that game. This is the defense that allowed the Atlanta Falcons to basically win a game without throwing the football. And now they give up 6 first downs in a game. They've given up maybe given up 18 first downs all season. They forced 60% of their drives to be 3 and outs. I don't think we have truly understood and appreciated how great this defense is. We know they're good, but boy, oh boy, they can get better. And the ceiling isn't the roof for this defense. The ceiling is the stratosphere. The ceiling is Mars for this defense. The ceiling is the Milky Way. It's anything. It's infinite. They have the best football player on earth, the best defensive football player on earth. They have some of the best corners on earth. They have some of the best linebackers on earth. They're that good. We'll see if they continue to play this well. But if they do, watch out. Because this isn't just a good defense. This is one of those defenses if they keep playing at this level. Y'all have a great day. Have a good night.